at military bases in the U.S. and worldwide, above and beneath the surface of the Earth's oceans, outside the Earth's atmosphere, and they are constantly reported on or around Earth's natural energy lines called ley lines, and especially where multiple energy lines meet called vortices. So you see, there's a wealth of credible evidence that comes from every corner of the world that should conclusively
called vortices? Is that what I saw? Hold on.
In addition to these eminent figures, equally impressive military, intelligence, and political figures have come forward with information and evidence about UFO reality in many different countries. In fact, there is scarcely a place on Earth that UFOs have not been witnessed and reported by numerous credible, reliable, and trained men and women. Also, contrary to popular belief, UFO reports are not limited to rural areas either. The phenomenon has been reported in major metropolitan areas across the globe. UFOs have also been reported quite frequently over civilian and military nuclear facilities, at military bases in the U.S. and worldwide, above and beneath the surface of the Earth's oceans, outside the Earth's atmosphere, and
that's what I saw, but it wasn't like this. There were a lot of lines just like this area. I'm in Puerto Rico, so I would look like this small area right here. Right here, I would look at it. Because when I saw the sky, it happened to me 2 times in a row. Not in a row, but 2 times. And I saw this in the sky with my normal vision. I hadn't even had glasses. The reason and the why I saw that was because I was meditating outside, and I used to lay my back on the grass and look at the sky. And I saw this 2 times.
They are constantly reported on or around Earth's natural energy lines called ley lines, and especially where multiple energy lines meet called vortices. So you see, there's a wealth of credible evidence that comes from every corner of the world that should conclusively prove to any free thinker that aliens and UFOs are definitely real. It is neither a secret nor a coincidence that in antiquity every region of Earth had stories of flying serpents and dragons. In fact, according to ancient myths, legends, and the beliefs of most every early culture existing around the globe at that time, these reptilian sky gods came down to Earth and helped to establish, build, develop, and rule what we falsely consider today to be the first civilizations, including those of ancient Sumeria, Egypt, China, India, as well as across the Atlantic in Mexico and Peru. Based on Zecharia Sitchin's translation of ancient Sumerian cuneiform tablets, the reptilian Anunnaki, also known by many other names, including the Nephilim from the Bible's book of Genesis, first arrived on a colonial expedition to Earth about 450,000 years ago, looking for minerals, especially gold, which was mined in Africa. Due to dissatisfaction with their working conditions, one Anunnaki named Enki suggested that primitive workers, or Homo sapiens, be created by genetic engineering as slaves to replace them in the gold mines by crossing extraterrestrial genes with those of Homo erectus, the first of which they called Adama, the basis for the biblical Adam and Eve. The tablets report that the human civilization in Sumer, Mesopotamia, which they called Eden, and was the basis for the biblical Garden of Eden, was set up under the guidance of these gods, and human kingship of reptilian lineage was inaugurated to provide intermediaries between mankind and the Anunnaki, thus creating the divine right of kings, doctrine based on bloodline inheritance from the gods. Because of its extreme importance, ancient cultures kept meticulous records of bloodlines. In fact, the Bible is in part a genealogical record tracing these bloodlines back to antiquity. There are many sources that state that no one was allowed to depict the Anunnaki in their true reptilian shape, and the very few depictions that survive to our days, like these statues of reptilian royalty with their child heir found in the ancient Sumerian city of Ur, were probably made in secret. Modern scholars have relegated these beings to the mythological or religious realm of a Sumerian pantheon. They dispute the Sumerians' own descriptions of them as real, flesh and blood people who came to Earth to create and mentor them. And who are we to believe? The Sumerians themselves, who revolutionized the world, left a vast archaeological record of their accomplishments and sought no credit for these accomplishments? Or modern academics whose worldview descends from one that formerly denied the very existence of the Sumerians and now will not permit them such a history? The fact that scholars do not know the place of origin of the Sumerians or the roots of their language
20 minutes, video got edited. At 20 minutes, the video got edited. Why the hell would you censor that?
Leaves open the possibility
The planet already knows that since 1983 all information is controlled. Why would you be so dumb to censor that part?
of the truth being the Sumerian accounts. All the ancient cultures have archaic stories and texts that tell similar stories that our modern scholars and academics want to suppress and not acknowledge as truth. By using this dragon symbolism, it is easy to see that these reptilian sky gods did not just establish Sumeria, but were involved in establishing other first civilizations as well.
That's Shiva. It's a guy. It has makeup, but this is a man. His name is
Indian
Shiva.
mythology is
His name is Shiva. I know that I saw it in my vision meditating a bunch of times. Too many times, really. When I do the third eye meditation, I will see him, and his name is Shiva, it seems, and it always appears in my vision. It's a guy. It looks like a girl. Aerosmith here. Why are you looking to your right? And this one's slightly to the left. Because of the three-dimensionality? Is that what it means?
full of references to the serpent gods and flying dragons that brought them knowledge. They call them the Nagas. In the Americas, the Indian cultures of Mexico and Peru all had names for the reptilian sky god that taught them the modern skills and gave them the gifts of civilization. He was called Quetzalcoatl by the Aztecs, Viracocha by the Incas, Kukulkan by the Mayas, Gucumatz by the Central Americans, Botan in Palenque, Zamna in Izamal, and Suma in Venezuela, all of which roughly translate in their respective languages into feathered or plumed serpent or snake, which of course is simply a dragon. In Peru, this plumed serpent god was called Amaru, and the territory known as Amaruca literally translates as land of the plumed serpents and is where America got its name from. The dragon was also a symbol of the sky gods in Babylon, Assyria, Phoenicia, Persia, Hindustan, and many others. In fact, the entire culture of China is based on the dragon and the serpent race, as the Chinese believe that a dragon fathered the first dynasty of divine emperors, and subsequent emperors claimed their right to rule because they were descended from the serpent gods. Back then, astronomy and astrology were part of the same sacred science, and the center of the universe, the pole star, which is the most important point in the universe, was Thuban, also known as Alpha Draconis, and it was a star or star system in the circumpolar constellation of Draco. The most ancient bloodlines are symbolically related to Draco, the great dragon, around which the heavens revolved, and so did earthly civilization, as above, so below. This astronomical event is represented by the circumpunct symbol, which is also the solar symbol for the sun, the alchemical symbol for gold, and represents the Egyptian sun god Ra. Interestingly,
the chemical symbol for gold. I never knew that. The neurophone works like that. Takes electrical current, direct current, into the gold and the other minerals, then the output or the sound travels through here. It's like following in that line, and then there's gold and minerals in the middle, and that has access to your an organ in the brain. I forgot the name. And permanent memory while you sleep. It works. You can hear it through the skin too.
not only the Egyptians, but the Incas, Mesoamericans,